how much would someone have to pay you for them to stick needles in your face, your ears, and your body? Or more specifically, how much would you pay somebody to have needles put in your face, ears, or body? That's the conversation today. Today I interview Lindsey Zulewski-Murray, owner of local Michigan business Balance Therapeutics, and we talk everything from acupuncture all the way to chiropractic care, health and wellness, and how to really make sure you're taking care of your body. This was a fascinating conversation for me because honestly, when I hear acupuncture, I get scared. And Lindsey did a really good job of saying why they just started to dive into it and why this forgotten Chinese practice might actually be perfect for you. When you put the needles in, are you relieving pressure?
It is good for treating things like curbing addictions and cravings. It is good for trauma-related things, like if you suffer from PTSD and anything that falls under its umbrella, like anxiety, depression, insomnia. And then also it has been used to help treat behavioral things like ADHD or anger issues.
There's a big debate of chiropractors
Uh-huh.
versus physical therapy.
Most people in the medical field don't like chiropractors.
And before we jump into today's podcast, I have to thank my editors, NVN Creates. If you're looking for professional video editing and honestly an editing team that's going to put their heart and their soul into every single project, this is the team for you. I trust them with all my videos. I wouldn't use anyone else. I couldn't use anyone else. They're the best. Definitely check them out. Their information is in the description below. And without further ado, let's jump into today's podcast I had with Lindsey. It's honestly a thrilling conversation about acupuncture, health and wellness, making sure your body feels amazing, some of the controversies that are out there, as well as what it's like for her being a woman in business and her story as well to the successful point that she's been. Definitely listen to this full podcast. It's worth it. We'll see you guys at the end. If you haven't, please like this video, subscribe. Thank you guys so much for the support you showed the podcast already. We'll see you guys at the end of the video. Okay, after this, we're going to get to the podcast really quick. The Dylan England Show now has a coffee blend. It's a low-acid coffee blend. We partnered with Cool Beans Coffee Brewery, and it's available now. Link is in the description below to tell you about our partnership, to tell you about really what's going on. But check it out. Some of the best coffee that you will ever drink. So grab your coffee, hit that like and subscribe button, and enjoy this episode of The Dylan England Show. Hey everyone, welcome back to the podcast. We have Lindsey Zulewski here today. She is a business owner, licensed massage therapist, soon to be licensed acupuncturist.
Auricular acupuncturist.
I don't know what that means, and a bunch of other stuff. So this is going to be a super interesting podcast if you're interested. Entrepreneurship, she started out as a one-man shop. Now she has a super sweet staff with her that she's grown into a great building here in Michigan. And if you're curious about like massages and acupuncture and just honestly health and wellness type living, this is going to be the podcast for you guys. So thank you for coming back. Welcome to the podcast, Lindsey.
Thanks.
Appreciate that you're here.
Thanks.
I wanted to just start by us talking about when you started in business. You told me that you started off. Well, actually, just tell me how did you know? Okay, massage is what I want to do. And then, let's just see where the conversation goes.
Okay, so I started out going to college for dental hygiene, actually. And I got all my prereqs done. I applied for the program, and they ran it like a lottery. So if they had too many people apply, names from a hat, basically.
Wow.
I didn't get chosen. So I got a letter stating, you didn't get selected, but you're in for next year. Which, fine, great, wonderful. Except for the fact if I wanted to keep my parents' health insurance, I had to be a full-time student. I was paying for my own college. I was going to community college, paying with Applebee's wages.
Sure. Yeah.
I'm not going to waste what little money I have on blow-off classes. If I'm going to learn something over the next few years, it's going to be, over the next year, it's going to be something constructive. So I found a trade school for massage therapy. Found a couple of them, actually. Did my research, liked one better than the other. And it was exactly 1 year. So I'm like, perfect. I'll be done right about the time I get to start dental school again.
Sure.
And it just 3 weeks into the massage
So it's kind of like out of necessity. You were kind of like, I just need to do something.
Yeah, I need to do something. And I wasn't going to waste my money. I was going to learn something that I could actually use. I was going to make it a side job, a weekend thing for friends and family.
So you never saw where you're at now?
No.
That was never the plan?
No.
Were you always like wanting to be an entrepreneur?
No.
Or like...
No.
Yeah, walk me through that.
I am so reserved. I am not a leader. I am a follower. So this is really kind of outside of what I ever saw myself doing. But yeah, 3 weeks into that massage program, I was like, wants to dig around in people's mouths.
Yeah.
This is so much better. I fell in love with it. Graduated in 2007 and just started working at different places. I tried the spa thing. Wasn't for me. Wasn't for me.
You mean like, so what's spa being like? There's pampering type massage?
There's different massage modalities. There's more like therapeutic medical grade massage. And then there's what we like to affectionately call a fluff and buff massage.
Right. I like those.
Just relaxation.
Yeah.
Which I can still do. But when you're in a spa, you get kind of pigeonholed into just doing that all day long.
Yeah.
And it's not for me. So tried that, ended up later at a chiropractic office and loved that setting because I saw a wider variety of people. Some people had problems that needed pain relief or whatever. Some people did just want to relax, but it was different. Every single massage was different. So I really liked that. But then I ended up getting divorced. Yeah. So that was unexpected, but
not part of the plan.
No, unexpected but necessary. So yeah, I'm like, okay, now what am I going to do? Because I'm working at this place. I love this kind of work. I wasn't getting paid enough to support myself. And when I was married, it didn't matter because he made plenty of money.
It was just supplemental income. Yeah. It's nice that we have it, but we don't need it.
Yeah. So I was talking with my divorce lawyer, and I'm like, I'm going to have to, move back in with my parents, and I'm going to need to find another job because this is not cutting it. And she looked me dead in the eye and said, start your own business. I thought she was crazy because, as you know, it's not easy. She said, no, I'm serious. I have these rooms for rent in my office. This is how much I charge. But if you want to give me a massage once a week, I'll take it off your rent. So I paid next to nothing to get started.
And you said that was your lawyer, right?
Yeah.
So your lawyer, did you get any clients from the lawyer office at all or not really?
A couple. Most of the people that I saw at the chiropractic office followed me.
You were in the law office.
Yep.
And then at what point, and that's a great deal. I mean, good to that lawyer.
It was
just, that's
literally,
the kick. It was like your little guardian angel that just kind of.
Just a couple $100 every month that I had to pay. And then within a year and a half.
That sounds nice.
Yeah, right? Right? Compared to what I pay now for a whole building.
I know.
Yeah. But, she gave me that really good deal. And within a year and a half, I was so busy I had to hire a girlfriend to come in and work on my days off. Because physically, you cannot do massage therapy 7 days a week.
Yeah.
It's very physically demanding. So each year, it has just snowballed.
And so when did you move to your next, when did you feel that you're like, all right, we need to move to our next location?
4 years into working in the law office. So 2-ish years in, I needed a second room. So then now I have 2 rooms at that law office. And I had 2 contractors working with me. And we were just continuing to grow, and I knew that being in that building was only going to let me go so far. So found this nice little joint in Riverview, and it was just big enough for a little bit of expansion. Moved there, stayed there for 7 years.
Wow. You've been doing this for, 12 years? 11?
As a business owner?
Sure.
11.
11 years.
But I've been a massage therapist since 2007.
Wow. And that place in Riverview is great. It was perfect for what you needed it for.
It served its purpose.
And then now you've moved again.
Yes.
And this is an upgrade.
Yes.
We're
hoping this is our forever home.
Okay. That's a fun way to put it.
My landlords are going to have to drag me out of there kicking and screaming if they ever want me to leave.
You just buy the building.
Right?
That's honestly probably your next stage. If they ever do that, just buy the building.
I hope to God they would offer it to me first.
Yeah.
But we have this building that's double the square footage of what we had.
Wow. And it's Trenton, right?
Trenton.
How big is your team right now?
Oh gosh, including me, there are 5 massage therapists. I have 1 Reiki practitioner. I have someone that comes in and does my billing and social media for me once a week.
Wow,
so, yeah.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
That's good. Oh, billing would suck. I feel like that. Do you deal with the insurances and stuff?
So we
only
do auto insurance claims.
Okay.
Yeah.
And are they pretty easy to deal with for the most part?
For the most part. Things are getting complicated since the laws have changed in the last.
Especially in Michigan.
Yeah, but I can't bill health insurance. They don't see us as legitimate practitioners. And with as complicated as it can be, I'm not sure I want to take that on anymore.
So that's like what, like another round of certifications you guys would have to...
Necessarily think so. It's just they just won't cover it.
That's weird. Yeah, I know that auto insurance makes sense, and you've helped a lot of people that have been in car accidents. And then you can even work with like physical therapy practices, like some, and like if they're like, hey, you need to get massage to help loosen this part or whatever, like you can kind of be, that's cool.
We work really well with physical therapy, chiropractic stuff, just more holistic.
Well, so let's talk about that. So I think that's a cool segue. Your story is inspiring. I think for anyone listening, for me, the takeaway from Lindsey is a lot of times on social media and YouTube, there's all this talk about, oh yeah, you're born an entrepreneur and you either have it or you don't. And I think it's just full of crap. I think people sometimes have a knack. When we say someone's an entrepreneur, I think it means you just have a higher risk tolerance than other people. Entrepreneurs generally have higher risk tolerances than other people. Other people then would have to work harder to take those risks than maybe other people would. Yeah. But it doesn't necessarily mean that you don't have the entrepreneur gene. That's, I think, a load of crap.
I never saw myself here. Never. It just, things happened and they just snowballed, and it was like, you keep up or you're going to fall behind. So I literally just took things that I learned from past places of employment. Things I liked, I applied. Things I didn't like, I tossed out the window. And it was just seizing opportunities as they came at you, which is weird because I'm not a risk taker. Yeah. Like by nature, I'm just not. Yeah, it's just for me, it's just luck. Yeah. Common sense.
Well, luck is where opportunity meets preparation. That's what I tell my team all the time. And what you said, we actually, Robert Courtney, which was the guest that I just had on, we had the same conversation, and it was maybe there's someone listening to this and they have a tinkling of maybe wanting to be an entrepreneur. Whatever job you're in, there are lessons that you can learn that you can then reapply. And that's what you said. I love what you said there.
That's exactly what I did.
That's awesome.
Yep. I've worked in office settings before, so I knew what it took to run a front desk. Took to take appointments. Just kind of take little bits from here and little bits.
And you wing it. And half of it's just winging it. And then you just gotta.
Yeah. You asked me not that long ago what my business model was, and I think I laughed at you.
Yeah. You're like, I don't know.
What business model? I'm literally winging this every single day of my life.
Yeah. And yet you're a successful small business owner here in Michigan. Lindsey has more clients a lot of times than getting on Lindsey's calendar herself is impossible for a massage.
It's hard.
And because she's so busy and because so many people love her, and when, Lindsey will help you out one time, you're going to go back. And that's the experience that Lindsey has at Balance Therapeutics, which is her company. It's awesome. But this is what I want to talk about. Yeah. So where do we want to start? What do we want to talk about first? I know we could talk about acupuncture. So I get scared with needles. Yeah. So why don't we just talk about acupuncture?
Okay.
For those that don't know, Lindsey has been exploring acupuncture as a service offered. Yes. When she told me that on the phone, I was like, yeah, I'm not going to, I can't. Like, it scares me. Yeah. So let's talk me through that. Like, why acupuncture? What is acupuncture? Okay. I think of Chinese needles and like faces covered with 100 needles and freaked out. So walk me through this.
Full body acupuncture. That is not what I do.
Okay.
We do auricular acupuncture, which is acupuncture of the ear. And the particular protocol that we learned is called the NADA 5NP protocol.
Bless you.
So
Sorry, okay,
everybody's just like, huh? So basically, there are dozens of points in your ear. We only deal with 5 specific points. All we have learned, that's all we're going to be doing. It is good for treating things like curbing addictions and cravings. It is good for related things, like if you suffer from PTSD and anything that falls under its umbrella, like anxiety, depression, insomnia. And then also it has been used to help treat behavioral things like ADHD or anger issues. So this particular protocol was used in the 70s in New York to help wean people off of methadone. Currently, the VA is using this particular protocol to help treat their veterans who have PTSD.
So this is like a pressure points, or like when you say points.
More or less, yeah.
So there's different points in your ear that are connected to your brain, for lack of a better term. Yeah. And for whatever reason, So when you put the needles in, are you relieving pressure or like what does it do? So how does it work? That's the
complicated thing.
You know,
those points correlate with different parts of your brain, different parts of your body.
Interesting.
Together, you get a certain effect out of it. I can tell you that I have horrible anxiety, and the medication.
Well, you're a business owner.
Mom, prone to anxiety to begin with. I had my first child in the middle of the pandemic, that was fun. Did not do anything for my postpartum anxiety, but it is what it is. But I was on a great medication that was helping me stay, level and not freak out all the time. Sure. And when I got pregnant with this one, they made me get off of it, which has been a struggle at times. And 10 minutes into my first treatment with this protocol, I looked at my coworker and I said, I feel like I'm back on my Prozac.
No way.
I swear to God. And it lasted about 72 hours. Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
So you've had some tests. Have you had any test subjects in yet? You're practicing this, right?
Oh, yeah. No, our clinicals are done. Yeah, we're done. We had to do 40 sessions,
So what was the feedback?
I would say the vast majority were very happy. And
do you think they're going to come back?
They can't wait to come back. I have people asking me all the time. But the problem is now we're just looking for an MD, a DO, or an acupuncturist who's willing to indirectly supervise. Yeah. Because that's what the law is requiring.
Can you still practice on volunteers, or are you kind of done until you get that certification?
I'm pretty sure we're done until we can find someone to oversee, unfortunately.
Does it hurt? Like, do the needles pinch when they go in?
Feel it a little tiny bit, but compared to a blood draw, because the needle is so fine, if you feel a pinch at all, it goes away as soon as it's in.
I'm laughing. My wife, Anna, passes away with needles.
Does she?
And I can only imagine her.
I know. We can lay her down. She's up. She'll be fine.
I'm just thinking, how much would I have to pay Anna to do this? I'd be curious to know if people watching this would think that would be an interesting vlog. If I would you allow me to
she
vlog
was willing to,
or for me if I did it as a vlog? Cool. That sounds scary.
Talk with her and make sure she's okay with you recording her. But
no, I'm saying I will probably be the one doing that.
You want to do it?
No, I'm not saying I want to. I'm saying that might make interesting content though.
It might.
Scares me.
No, it's not scary. I hate needles. I have passed out multiple times getting my blood drawn. I'm fine with this.
So do you see, it is interesting. I know I think for the average person, they see acupuncture as a out of date, at least me, average date. That's what they look at it like, acupuncture, the Chinese used to do this and whatever.
It's been around for 3,000 years.
Yeah. So it's a old science but basically what you're saying is there is full body acupuncture, but it is so niche all the way to, you said there's how many 12 points in the ear?
Oh, there's dozens.
Dozens, and you're specializing in 5.
We only deal with 5. So, for example, I mentioned, the VA is using this particular form
to help people get off
and
drugs.
Those 5 points, no, it's to help them with their PTSD.
Oh.
Yeah. But they also do at the VA what's called BFA, which is battlefield acupuncture. Also deals with 5 points in the ear.
Is that still ear only?
Ear only, but it's different. It's different points. I think 2 of the points are the same, and the other 3 are completely different. And that deals, I think, if I'm not mistaken, deals specifically with treatment of pain related to battle.
That's crazy. I literally, it's just mind blowing.
If it's being used in hospitals.
Oh, I know it's legitimate, but to me, it's the how. How does the needle that goes into the ear affect the brain to then allow?
I can't explain it to you.
Yeah, that's crazy.
It's comprehensible.
Yeah, I know. It would, but that's cool though. It's cool that, first of all, you said it was started, or you mentioned something in New York about how it was originally researchers started to help people get off of meth, right?
Yeah, if I'm not mistaken, it was being used to help treat anxiety and stuff, and in addicts, and they were noticing that
it helped them.
It was helping them curb their cravings.
So could this also, when you say curb cravings, what about cravings with sugar, and what about is there weight loss tie-ins that you could make to this? Not officially.
Yeah, we're not going to go out there and be like, you're going to lose weight if you do this. But if you're an overeater, if you're addicted to food, you're addicted to sugar, if it's helping curb those cravings, it could essentially help you lose weight.
What if I'm addicted to good food?
Same way.
It's I just like good food.
I know.
So let's just say someone has a specific, like, okay, I'll give you another example with our family. So there's something about after we eat dinner, we love something sweet.
Same way.
So like ice cream.
Sure.
And then like there'll be, or like even like fruit, like strawberries with whipped cream, or
it could help curb that. Yeah.
That's intriguing to me.
Yeah. I mean, literally anything from food all the way up to hard drugs and everything in between. We're talking gambling. We're talking alcoholism.
Wow.
All that. Everything.
And how often? You said up to 72 hours. Personally.
That was my personal experience. I'm understanding that if you are like in the thick of an addiction, like a heavy addiction, they would want you to get treated every day. That is not feasible for what we do because I have a full clientele that I see every week for massage as well. So what we do have, and I should have thought to bring some and I didn't. They're called seeds. They're little tiny metal balls that are like on a little square Band-Aid. So I would give you an acupuncture treatment. Once I remove the needles, I would put those seeds in place of where the needle was, and that would provide acupressure on those points for up to 2 weeks. You're still getting the benefit of it.
That's awesome. That is just a world.
Yeah.
You know, we should have had you bring needles and done it live on the podcast. That would have been great content. Would have been crying though.
No, you wouldn't have.
I don't know. No, it is cool. I mean, I trust that what you're doing is, and I don't say those things to downplay how gentle and great you are. I'm just a baby. And so that's why I'm like mentally thinking about it. But I do think it's cool. You know, it's a cool science.
It is. And it goes very well with what we were already doing.
Yeah.
So it just kind of makes us kind of more of a one-stop wellness shop, if you will.
Yeah, you're expanding from just massages, which you guys did a dang good job at.
Thank you.
And now you're kind of, so is that your goal, trying to be more of a, you know?
Yeah, I mean, we're still primarily massage, but we do want to offer other things for people. Like Kelly at my office, she is now certified as a functional nutrition as well. So, you know, she's more of a holistic approach to nutrition and dietetics. And then we're doing red light therapy, which is very similar to infrared therapy. Offering Reiki now for those who don't like to be touched, but still need to get balanced and need to relax.
That's like sounds and stuff.
No.
Or sensory.
It's more energy transfer.
Okay. That kind of stuff. Okay,
Yeah.
cool.
Not my wheelhouse. I'm more like, get in and fix it. But
that's the kind of stuff just above my head. I'm not going to lie to you. The red light therapy, though, that's interesting to me. So walk me through that.
So red light therapy, there's a certain frequency that the red light emits. It's below what the frequency would be for an infrared light. Basically, it just warms you up from the inside out, and it helps with cellular regeneration, which can help with healing.
Yeah, I was wondering, like dead skin and...
Well, yeah, like if you have an injury, it can help heal you faster. It's good for inflammation. Those are kind of the two things that we're really focusing on because it blends very well with what we do with people already.
Yeah, it makes sense. Because I know I've seen those like red light rooms. I think even like Planet Fitness has like red light stuff.
Yeah.
And I never really knew what that was for.
So technically, I think the actual infrared frequency, not safe for pregnancy because you're heating things up from the inside.
Yeah, you don't want to bake the baby.
Exactly. And if you have implants in your body, like if you have hip replacement or something, because metal is going to heat faster and differently than your tissues will.
Oh, that'd be crazy.
So that's why we decided to do red light because it's a little gentler, it's a little safer, but you get a lot of the same benefits.
That's really
All
cool.
that now.
I love the science behind this thing. And so reggae. So give me just an overview.
Reiki.
Yeah, sorry. Reggae. Is it reggae?
Reiki.
Reggae. Isn't that type of music?
Reggae is a type of.
That's what I was thinking of.
Spelling's completely different.
Yeah. Okay. So reggae. I knew it was like energy stuff. So is it like?
Yeah.
Is it like a register? So when I think of reggae type of thing, I think of like a psychic.
No.
Is it so completely different? So walk me through that for you guys.
She will either put her hands directly on a part of your body, and you're fully clothed for this. This isn't like a massage where you have to disrobe or anything. Or she'll hover her hands over, and you're just. I can't explain it. Like I said, not my wheelhouse, but there's a transfer of energy that happens back and forth from the practitioner to the client. And it's just a way to help balance the client's energy, perhaps de-stress them. It's just really relaxing. And it's a good way to like, not everyone wants to be touched. So it's a modality that we decided to offer as an alternative, you know.
For that.
Yeah.
Yeah, cool. And there's people that I'm sure appreciate it because you're still offering it, which is cool.
Sure.
That's great. So red light acupuncture, massage, Reiki.
Yeah.
Reiki. What's next? Or what else where are you guys are you wanting to go full body acupuncture at some day?
No, that is a 2-year program out of state. As a working mom, you can see why that's not.
Yeah, they just don't have anything in Michigan that you could go to.
I would be open though to doing other classes to learn other parts bit by bit, but we'll see. We'll cross that bridge when we get there. I'm not opposed to hiring a full body acupuncturist.
Okay. Well, that's the easy route. I don't know how many of those there are.
There aren't many. I had one for a while that got a job opportunity out in Colorado, and holistic health is huge out there. So, you can't fault somebody for doing what's best for them.
You know what you guys need to do next is do like cold tub therapy, offer ice baths.
Possibly.
I told you I was doing those. Did you know that I was doing those?
No.
Oh, yeah. So I did 30 days in a row,
Yeah.
an ice bath every morning. And the baby was born. I had to stop. But it was awesome. Cold immersion therapy is like, you want to talk about a de-stressor? When you jump into an ice bath, what happens is you immediately get hit with a 200% increase in dopamine. But it's an earned dopamine.
Yeah.
So it's not like cheap, scrolling on your phone, dopamine shorts that make you feel good and then you feel like crap an hour later. Yeah, this is like actual earned, your body's going through pain and your body actually feels amazing. So when you get out of the tub, you feel like $1,000,000. Yeah. So like every morning, the idea is, so if you start your day with an ice bath every morning, so I'd sit there for 2 minutes. There's actually videos of me breaking the ice. So I was doing it in the winter. So I had to have a hammer.
This sounds awful.
And,
I'm not gonna lie.
We'll for people watching, I'll put a little clip of, this is just one of just breaking the ice. And then we get in later. I don't know, there's no sound. Oh, there you go.
I have seen places that have those cryotherapy chambers though. Where
it's the same
concept, right?
Yeah, same concept. Yeah, there you go. And you're just chilling.
You don't look like you're just chilling. You look like you're pretty miserable. I'm not gonna lie.
So mentally is a battle. And that's part of the beauty. And it's kind of like with what you're doing too. I mean, the reason I think it'd be cool is because it does help with stress. It does help with anxiety, and it kind of fits with the therapy. And they even have like cold tubs that you can purchase. They're like $2,000, but they're like indoor. They keep the water needs to be under 40 degrees. Yeah, you should look into it because it is like I had another thing that helped. I put on a bunch of weight since I got married. So I had a bunch of stretch marks on my stomach. They're all gone. Like just passively. Like
interesting.
Yeah, so my wife just had a baby and she's like, all right, we need to get into ice bath again. I'm like, all right, you asked for it, So that's been something that's been really fun. It's been something that I am excited. It's just been not cost effective to continue in the summer because the amount of ice I have to buy was just way too. It was like 5 large bags of ice per day. And it's like, I can't afford
that adds up
to do that. Yeah. So once fall and winter, I'm planning to do that all through winter next year, but you should look into that.
I'm not opposed to it. I just don't think I'd do it myself.
You don't have to do it, but you might have people
who are interested.
I don't know. I wonder if there's a science to like, it would probably be not helpful, but after like a brutal massage. So like after like I wonder if there's a science to actually having that help the recovery process.
Ice, everyone's always like, oh, should I put heat on this or should I put ice on this? I rarely recommend people heat.
I would look in. That would be curious because if you had a cold tub, you could literally just tell people, hey, dip in this for 2 minutes after this massage. I'm going to wreck your life for the next hour. Then afterwards, if you want, we have a recovery tub.
There you go.
And they can freeze their ninnies off. It's you could even include it. Like $10 charge or something.
Right?
20. Yeah. It's not a bad idea. I do want to talk about massages for a second.
Sure.
How do you feel about chiropractors? And so I know there's a big debate of chiropractors versus physical therapy. So like correct me if I'm wrong, this is your field, but physical therapists don't really like chiropractors. And
most people in the medical field don't like chiropractors.
Okay, so walk me through chiropractic care. Like, what are your thoughts?
My thoughts are not all chiropractors are created equal. And there are some who have ruined it for the rest of them. That's where I stand on that. I do think if you find the right chiropractor, they can be very beneficial for you, especially if you're combining that therapy with massage. Because I try to describe it to people as like your body is a suspension bridge. Think of your bones as the metal structure of the bridge and think of your muscles as the suspension cables. You're not maintaining one of those systems on the bridge function right.
Right.
So I'm a big fan of combining the two modalities. I'm just really picky about chiropractors that I see.
So what a chiropractor does is he will go in and make an adjustment, but then the pushback is it doesn't stay without therapy or without strengthening muscles, right?
It's case sensitive. Right? If you have really, really dehydrated or tight muscles and things are not moving, that adjustment really isn't going to do much for you because you've got these tight muscles that are just going to pull it right back out of alignment.
Right.
Both, your adjustment will probably hold longer.
So where do you think massage care? So somebody watching this,
Yeah.
you guys do relaxing massage, and I think when people think of massages,
That's what they think of, and that's because of.
And I know
TV,
I've done both.
Sure.
We've gone to Punta Cana and we've done the spas, and I love the spa thing.
I do too.
I have actually some very embarrassing stories on. I'll tell you later. I'll tell you, basically what happened was we were at Punta Cana. There was a full hour-long experience before we went to the massage. So it was hot tubs, cold tubs, mud rooms, saunas,
so you get
steam rooms.
The whole thing.
It was and it was literally an hour-long experience to where they. Anna's gonna kill me for telling this story. They take you from station to station. So a worker would be hello, Mr. England, whatever, and they take you to station to station to walk you through this whole to try to relax you.
Sure.
Okay. So when we signed up for this thing, they just said, okay, come tomorrow at 2:00.
Okay.
So we show up wearing our normal clothes. We go to two separate ways. So Anna goes this way, I go this way. We're in this men's locker room. And this guy's all right, you can put your swim shorts on.
What swim shorts?
I don't have swim shorts.
Nobody told me to bring swim shorts.
And there's immediate oh crap. And so then what had to happen was he's okay, well then, strip. And I was okay.
So you had to walk around naked in this resort.
I was so stressed. By the time we get through, so I have this robe.
They didn't have
and he puts me in this steam. No, they did for Anna. They had disposable stuff for Anna,
but not for
me. So I walk in this steam room. I don't know if you've ever been in a steam room before.
I have, yeah.
It is literally just poof of you can't see, just steam everywhere. And then so I'm in this robe. So I try to sit down,
well, at least they
and now I had a robe, but then my butt's getting all wet because I'm sitting there. I'm this is miserable. And then I'm in the sauna. Yeah. Anyway, so Anna and I meet back up. She's all lounging and relaxed, and I sit down and I'm I am so stressed out.
This is not what you anticipated.
No, it was. So that's my relaxing experience. So when should somebody look at massage care or care for their muscles and more than just?
I mean, it's good for anyone in general because it's a really good way to reduce stress. And it can help with things like insomnia. If you reduce your stress level, you're going to sleep better. I've had people come in who are I sleep 4 hours a night, sleep well at all. And then after their first massage, they're up 8, 9 hours last night. So it's good for stuff like that. But if you've got a chronic issue, your shoulder just keeps getting caught up because you're sleeping on it funny, or it really helps to maintain stuff like that too. There's tons of different for massage. There's so many different modalities. At school, I think I was trained in 6 or 7 of them.
So how often is it one of those? Because I know I've gone before and it's great, and it hurts
it hurts while you're getting it done.
Your eyes are watering.
If you have a problem, it will.
And I always have problems, and I carry my stress in my lower back and my shoulders, so it's it hurts. It's a good hurt, and then the next day you're sore.
I like to call it acceptably uncomfortable. And the more often you get massages, the less likely you are.
So how often to reap the benefits of would you recommend somebody to look into care like this if they're struggling with maybe insomnia, maybe they're super tense in their neck, or they're sitting a lot in office chairs?
Minimum, I say if you can make it once a month just for a half hour just to work on your problem spots, then great. I mean, it's all circumstantial because everybody's body is different. The issues they're dealing with are different. Their finances are different.
Yeah.
And I'm not going to be one of those people that's going to tell you, oh, you have to come back. I'll make suggestions, but I'm not going to force you to do it.
Yeah. Everyone's budget's different.
Budget's different. Everyone's
But
body is
ideally, minimum once a month.
minimum once a month. And like if you've got an issue, like I saw someone the other day who's got sciatica really bad. So that's a pain that shoots from the
It's
lower
like a
back.
nerve thing,
hip.
right?
Yep, your sciatic nerve. It runs from your lower back through your hip and down your leg. There's an impingement there, and we're really trying to stay on top of that. I would recommend once a week, twice a week for a week or two, just to kind of help correct the issue. And once things start to work themselves out, then we'll space your appointments apart a little bit. But it's different for everybody. Some people might get relief after one session. People, it might take a few. It just depends.
Yeah. So then, like, how does somebody know to go to a massage therapist or go to a chiropractor for back pain? So is it like, my back hurts? Like, I have friends that swear by the chiropractor.
Sure.
And Anna, when we have a good one that Anna loves, I've never been and I will never go until I'm like crooked and then he can adjust me. When does somebody, do you know, like, is there like a certain pain that's like, okay, that might be more skeletal structure or?
Yeah, generally if it's a sharper pain or the massage is not really working out, then I might suggest they go to a chiropractor.
Yeah.
But in general, if you have back pain, it's not going to hurt to start in either place.
I would recommend you start with a massage because I hate chiropractors. No, just kidding. I'm joking.
People find massage a little less invasive. The cracking of the neck kind of throws people.
What's your feeling on manual chiropractors? So the reason I asked that, I think we've had this conversation before. I can't remember. I have a client who's a chiropractor in Howell, and he only uses like called an abdicator or like it's a tool. And he's like, if you have a chiropractor that uses their hands, run. Because they're not good.
See that I really can't speak on.
And so we have
both.
And we've seen both too.
Yeah.
And we have a chiropractor now that does both, and it seems to work very well. But it is scary. I know I watched Anna get adjusted once, and the guy had Anna's head in his hand, and she's like, I'm like, I feel like I see you kill somebody.
Right.
Like it's terrifying to me.
I know 2 different people who have actually had strokes from rough neck adjustments.
Should I sell them Aflac?
Maybe. Yeah.
Well, you've
2
people that have had strokes because of rough adjustments. It just goes back to what you're saying.
Different chiropractors.
Be choosy on your chiropractor.
Yeah.
I need to get a chiropractor in here because that would be interesting to tell.
I know a few.
I do. Yeah, I do too. Do you know Dr. Joe? Yeah, we love Dr. Joe. He's a lovable man.
I used to work with Dr. Joe.
Did you actually?
Back in the day. Yes.
Yeah.
I'm not going to say where, but yes.
Yeah.
Back in the day. He's a very nice guy.
Yeah, he's a great guy. Anna loves them. And he's been
right
growing
down the
crazy
street
too.
from my old office. His office. I haven't
Achieve.
been inside, but it's beautiful.
Oh, inside's great too. They're great. So it is scary. I don't know.
Where he could work with you and help calm your anxiety.
Oh, no.
Or you can come to me and get an acupuncture session first to calm your anxiety and then get adjusted.
So scary. No, it's cool. I do think what you're doing with the acupuncture is awesome. It's just like, I hope when you're ready to go, I'm sure it'll be on your website and everything else, and you'll be promoting it a lot. Yeah. Can you do an acupuncture session while I'm doing
massage?
Another session?
The general consensus is no, for a couple of reasons. When I'm giving massage and I'm under my massage therapy, under that license and under that liability insurance, I can't do stuff that doesn't fall into that scope. So what I am going to do is make it an add-on. Done with your massage, you get off the table, acupuncture area.
Which would be better to do first, acupuncture or massage?
I'm going to say massage because it'll like prep you to get
actually relax you a little bit.
And then also when you're doing the acupuncture, they want you to remove all stimuli. Don't talk. Stay off your phone. Just sit in silence and marinate for 30 minutes.
Honestly, that's by itself is probably what Americans need.
Yeah.
We should probably do that with or without acupuncture.
Absolutely.
You should just have a room, a 30-minute like therapy quiet time room.
So yeah, I plan to do the massage first and then do the needles afterward. That way when you're done, I can just take the needles out and you can just go on your way. Enjoy your day.
Yeah, and you can have those seeds or no seeds. Exactly. Have you tried the seeds yet with anybody?
I put them on everybody. It doesn't hurt. It's just a little Band-Aid with a little tiny, tiny metal ball inside.
But the metal ball's in your ear.
It's not in your ear. It's on it.
Oh, because it's just putting pressure on it. And they don't have to return those. Like it's just, do they take off the Band-Aid after a certain amount of time?
They can take it off themselves if they feel nauseous or they get a headache from it or anything like that, or they fall off on their own, but they can stay on for a week or two.
That's crazy. So we're 45 minutes already. It's great. So I guess let's pivot to one other thing I wanted to talk about is just maybe conversations to entrepreneurs. What is some advice you'd give to fellow women that are starting businesses, fellow humans that are starting businesses? Would you recommend, are there caveats to what you'd recommend, So I guess give some advice
I'm
based
always
on.
honest with people. I'm like, this is not easy.
Mm.
This is not easy. Because when you work for somebody else, you just go to work and you know you're getting paid. When you own the business, you're like, how am I going to bring money in? You're constantly thinking, how am I going to keep things going?
Yeah.
Because not only does my income depend on it, but all my staff, their income depends on it too. Don't have to worry about it. They just know if they're coming into work, they're getting paid. It's not easy. It's really not easy. You know, getting the word out there about what you do and getting people to trust you, getting people to actually come to your place of business. It's whole, build it and they will, you know. Just,
Build it and they'll come.
They don't.
Yeah.
You have to work for it. Networking has been huge. That's one thing I would recommend. Network the hell out of it.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, print ads are cool, but networking,
Oh, for sure.
building those relationships, that's how we met.
Yeah.
But building those relationships with people, that's what's going to get more people in the door because then they tell their family, then they tell their friends, and it just snowballs.
Yeah. How important has repeat clients been in your business?
Huge.
So experience is key. I mean, in your line of business, if you don't deliver a top-notch experience,
They're not
coming back. And that's what percentage of your revenue would you say is existing
business?
clientele versus new clientele on like a monthly basis? I'm asking good questions.
Yeah, you are. I mean, I could tell you just this past week, I had 2 first-time clients. Everybody else was out there, all repeats.
And that's probably true of the rest of the staff as a whole, I'd guess, too.
Yeah.
I mean, it just shows, it's a good lesson for business, right? When you
Yeah.
give someone a good experience, they're going to come back. And
Even if they don't come back right away.
And are there like measures that you guys do to make sure, because everyone that works under you is kind of their own
Yeah,
massage therapist,
they're independently contracted. They
But
control their own schedules.
they still are under your brand.
Yeah, so I bring clients into the business, but then they also bring their own clients in too, you know, because I'm going to bring stuff into the business because what helps them ultimately does help me.
Right.
Right?
But is there anything from like a consistency standpoint that you're like, girls, you have to do this or we
No.
do it this way?
We have discussions about that kind of stuff, you know, like if it's going to happen under my roof, like during COVID and stuff, like certain rules and regs,
Sure.
look, the health department, this is what they're saying, this is what we have to do. But like, for example, we just participated in the street fair.
Yeah, I saw that on Facebook. That's
so
exciting.
I didn't say, okay, we're gonna do this. Like they were like, hey, should we do anything for the street fair? And I'm like, yeah, I was thinking the same thing. So we talk, we have discussions, and I'm like, I'm thinking this. What are you thinking? And we ping ideas off of each other.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna force them to do anything they don't want to do. I want them to be free, comfortable.
Sure.
And ultimately, if you're doing something that's gonna make my business look bad, you're not gonna work for me.
Right. Yeah.
But thankfully, I've hired a really good group of people.
Yeah.
We're all very like-minded. We're all very much people pleasers, which has its pros and its cons.
Sure. And that's the key. I mean, you guys are a like-minded staff.
Yeah.
And you all know the goal.
Sure.
There's a common goal of giving clients an excellent experience. And then if there's open communication, and if for whatever reason someone drops the ball and someone gives a bomb review, then you guys can have that conversation then.
Which happens.
Yeah.
It absolutely happens. I mean, you cannot please everybody.
Oh, to be fair, even if the experience was amazing, you can't please everybody.
Oh, no, you absolutely can't. So, yeah, I mean, we have discussions where necessary, and it's always like, hey, look, somebody said XYZ, you're not in trouble. Just file it away and correct as needed, you know? It's
correct.
Yeah.
I don't know do you know a guy named Mike Gruley? Okay, so I had him on the podcast. He basically does leadership coaching for companies, but like a big, like 5,000 man companies.
Yeah.
And one of the things that he talked about was when you're a leader, one of the things that is really helpful is if you can, where a lot of leaders fail is they're not clear on the goal. They don't actually share where is the end goal, or they don't even really share what it means to be on the bus. So like, then you go to your employee, well, you're not even on the bus. Well, you never actually told them what it even meant to be on the bus to begin with.
Right.
And so I think that's a really good lesson of when you have open communication with your staff, they know the expectations. And you can't get mad at them if they don't know the expectations. But that's a good reminder for all the leaders out there. If you have people working under you, if you have people working with you, make sure the goals are clear. Make sure that I've been working on that too with my agency. But it's like, and then if they don't reach those goals, well, it doesn't look like you're a fit for the company.
Right.
But those goals have been very clear from the beginning.
Yeah, well, like very, very clear about like, hey, look, if you've got an idea about something, talk to me about it. I'm more than willing to listen to what you have to say, because the more input I have coming in from different directions,
It's going to be.
the better it's going to be. Ultimately, if I think it's going to be bad for the business, then I need you to respect me as a business owner, right? You know, and I'm also
this is when it forces you to be that extrovert, Lindsey.
I hate it.
This is when it forces you to, do you know the bird personality types?
No.
Like psychology of sales. So there's like eagle, owl, dove, and parrot. So eagle is like dominant type A personality. That's not you. I think you're a dove / maybe owl. But so I'll go through. A dove is one that just loves people, loves the staff. They care deeply. They're moved by empathy kind of people. A parrot is just loves to party, loves to talk, loves to have a party. And an owl,
not me.
an owl is very detail driven. So they like details, they like numbers, they like knowing facts, stats, things like that.
Yep, I'm between the two.
Yeah, so you're a dove owl. And the reason I know that is like sales psychology. If I can in 5 seconds know what bird I'm talking to, I can then tailor a conversation to. That's why it's important.
Right.
But doves struggle with trying to be an eagle.
Oh.
Because they're not eagles.
Yeah.
But you have to be an eagle to be a business owner.
Every
at
once
some
in a while,
times.
you have to
fire somebody.
Yep.
You have to have an
That's
uncomfortable conversation.
That is the hardest part. Honest to God. That's the hardest part. Because I don't want to crush somebody's day.
You're a dove.
I don't want to crush. Yeah. I don't. I mean, but it
Can
has
you
to be
believe,
done.
Lindsey, there are people that don't even care about crushing somebody's day?
I believe that. I've encountered those people. I've been crushed by those people.
I know those people.
I have been crushed by those people. Yeah. Absolutely.
And there's people like us. It's funny, when I started, I was a dove. And then my eagle
worked your way up.
has kind of killed my dove. I'm still a dove. But I think when you get burned, you only can get burned so many times by staff.
Yeah.
To then where...
It's getting easier, actually. It's getting easier. I still don't enjoy it.
No.
And compartmentalize it a little bit better.
Exactly.
Yeah, because I've had to fire people for lots of different reasons.
Yeah. And it sucks. It always sucks. But there is a level to where you're like, wait, I understand why I'm doing this and why I have to do this. And maybe the first time you were crying and it just ruined your whole week. And now it sucks for 2 hours and you're ready to move on. I mean, that's just kind of being a business owner. You have to have, there are difficult decisions that you're going to have to make. Doesn't make them easy, but learning how to compartmentalize that and understand that it needs to be done is the mark of, I think, a healthy business owner. It's not enjoyable. It's not fun. But like, and the other thing that's really interesting that I've been really working on, and I don't know if you've thought about this at all, but is making the decision quickly, not letting them leach.
I have let things drag out longer than they should have in hopes that like things would turn around.
Because you're a dove.
And I just needed to just nip it in the bud way earlier.
Yeah, I'm the same way. That's an interesting psychological, when you hire someone and then you believe in them, you want the best for them.
And then you develop a relationship with that person.
They're your friend.
Too.
Now all of a sudden, it's 6 months and they're still acting like they've been here for 2 weeks. That's at least in my field, that's how it is. So for my field, it's, hey, you're still asking the same questions you asked 4 months ago. And I've given you the training. I've given you the answers. Like at some point, you're going to need to graduate to initiative taking. And at some point, you're going to need to be remembering these answers. You can't ask me the same question for a year. And so seeing those signs early. And so what's happened is people have leached and been in the organization for probably a year longer than they should have been for their happiness and my happiness.
Yeah.
And that's a hard pill to swallow. And it's scary because then you're wondering, okay, well, what if this person can make it? What if this person can turn it around? Us doves that's a struggle point. And
I've had a couple of instances where you don't realize how bad the situation was until you're removed from it. Like you knew it was crappy, moving toward crappy, but you really couldn't see the full picture until it was over.
Yeah. Yep.
And that applies to like all types of relationships.
Yeah.
Not just business relationships, interpersonal relationships.
Sure.
Like sometimes you have to take a step back. Like
gives you that extra perspective.
You have to teach yourself how to take a step back, actually removed from it, because you'll see it a lot clearer.
That's a good mental practice to do, especially for business owners. If they're thinking about fire somebody, imagine what it's like with them not around. And if it's like, oh, well, the company's probably going to thrive, well, then maybe that's the right decision. And vice versa. Like it could actually mean. And sometimes it could be that the owner needs to look into their heart and their life and The reason that this is what I was talking with Mike about, what he sees 90% of the time is the reason why staff isn't succeeding is because the person in charge of this division sucks and they're not actually communicating what's needed to be done. So you have all of these actual able-bodied, willing people.
So it's not that person's not the problem; it's the person above them.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And so that's a good. So for people that maybe you're mad at your manager, but maybe people are mad at you for not doing the same thing. So it's just a good heart check. It's a good mental exercise to be like, am I communicating everything to my staff?
And I know that that's an area I could still improve on.
Yeah. Well, we always can.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I mean, thankfully right now, the staff I have, I feel like if something does need to be discussed, I can go to any of them and have a straightforward conversation.
That's amazing. The culture you've built is sweet and it's great. I know most of the staff. I mean, just because of you being my client.
Yeah.
And they're all great. Great people.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. And, I wanted to create, I've worked in office settings or restaurants where it's like majority women. They're brutal. It can be so brutal.
I live with one, and one's enough.
The cattiness and the backstabbing and the talking behind each other's backs. And it's not a healthy environment. It can be very toxic. And I'm not saying all women are that way.
No, you're good.
But it's just what I've experienced along the way. So the staff that I have now, we don't have that.
Yeah.
We don't have any of that. And that's what I wanted, was to create a workspace where I felt comfortable. It felt like home. I didn't want that workspace that felt like, God, is it 5 o'clock yet? Never once have I been like, I can't wait to get away from these people. What time is it? Never, not once. And that's what I've always wanted out of a workspace.
It's almost like what you're saying to a degree is when someone's looking to hire someone, you need to start with the person. Like, start with who they are. Start with the person. They could have all the qualifications for a job, but if they're not going to fit in the culture of the company, there's no point to make that hire because you're asking for problems.
Yeah. Part of getting a massage or part of getting a position with me is you have to do an actual sit-down interview with me, and then you have to do a hands-on interview. I want to see where your skill level is. And there's a lot of debate on these discussion boards when you're just trying to get free massages. No, I want to make sure that their skill level is going to fit the clientele that I have built for myself. So, and I don't require a lot, minimum half hour. I just want to gauge where you're at. I've had some bomb massages, like amazing massages in these interviews. And I've purposely not hired people because I knew there was going to be personality conflict with somebody else's personality on staff.
Yep.
And it's not like, oh, that person on staff is the problem. No, that person gets along with everybody here.
Correct.
I don't think you two are going to gel, and we don't need tension here.
Yep. And that's a legitimate. When people are applying, they forget that they're being hired for their whole self and who you
all the
are.
gears have to fit together.
Correct.
All of them.
It's not just, and sometimes people get butt hurt, like, oh, you didn't hire me because of you're already getting mad that I didn't hire you. You're literally proving my point on why I didn't hire you to begin with. And I think in a world that is so easily offended, that's a good reminder. Is like, hey, like people that are looking for jobs.
You're not owed anything.
You're not owed anything. And if you don't want to be looking for jobs, then feel free to start a business. I'm warning you.
It's not easy.
It's not.
It took me over a decade to get where I'm at.
Yeah. And you still have more that you want to accomplish.
Oh, yeah.
When you bought, and we can end with this because we're doing well on time. I am struggling with this. So start there.
Okay.
And then we'll see if you struggle too. So throughout my insurance experience, I have always scaled before I was ready to scale. You smiling. You know what So like my first step was Anna quit her job to work with me. We had only been married for 6 months. She was making $40,000 a year, which our family was like, you needed it. Then we bought a house, and a month later she quit her job and worked with me because it just needed to happen. I needed to scale. I was like, oh crap. But it worked. It was stressful and it worked. Right. And then Anna wanted to go do real estate. So then I hired an admin before I could afford an admin. So we made it work.
Sometimes you have to spend money to make money.
Yep. And then we had office space in Wyandotte before I could afford that. But we made it work. And then we have this space, which is, for the camera can't see, but it's there's 3 offices. But it's still also like more budget than I'm quite ready for.
Right.
But it's always like, that's how it's been in business. Did you feel that at each step?
Oh my God. Initially going from 1 room to 2 rooms wasn't that bad. Jumped to my new office. Now I've got higher rent. I have lawn care I have to take care of. I have all these utilities to factor on top of it. There was a point in time where I was like, I don't know if I can do this. But then it leveled out.
Mm-hmm.
Same thing. We got to the point where we were like maxed out in the last office we were in. This office was just a little more than I thought I was ready for. But I'm like, we can do this.
Yeah.
We can do this. So, yeah, we're experiencing growing pains as we speak. But I know it's going to level out. It's going to. It already has started to.
Look at you, little entrepreneur.
It already has started to.
Yeah.
So, I just, you're going to be stressed for a hot minute and
That's how it is.
deal with it. Yeah.
I'm just trying to figure out a way to avoid that. I just don't think you can.
You can't. No way to jump from point A to point B, especially when you're going from an office this size to an office that size, for it to be a smooth transition, because there's moving everything over there. There's going to be gaps to fill in the schedule.
Yeah.
Also, you just have to be patient and wait for it to happen. Obviously, don't sit back and just passively wait. You have to get out there and bust your ass to bring it in.
Yeah. You know what I've learned about myself, and I didn't know this to be true. But so like with this space, I mean, we've doubled rent,
Oh, yeah.
And that's like, and then I doubled so in like 1 year, I went 4 times business expenses in 1 year. And I've learned something about myself to where that I freeze. So, which is not good. And so some people, when they are like the flame is under them, or however you want to say it, they're like, I'm going to work triple as hard. My bent is to just like freeze.
Yeah, I do that too.
And not know what to do.
I do that
and
too.
like panic, and not like panic, like I'm not hyperventilating or anything like that.
Sure, yeah.
But like sales go down.
Your mind is going 90
and
miles a
I
minute.
sit in the office
Yep.
and I'm like, I don't know where to start. I don't know what to be working on. Should I work at this aspect of the business? Should I be doing this? And then eventually it's like, why do I even show up? Like there's no point. And then it just goes down this big rabbit hole.
Lists. That's how I get through that freeze. I write down all the things going through my head, because there's so many things and you're like, I don't know where to start. I don't know what to do. So you kind of shut down and I complete one thing at a time. And when it's on paper, numerical order, it's easier to execute it, at least for me.
No, you're right. And actually my wife and I should probably we used to do this thing called brain dumps.
Yeah.
I used to be so stressed when we were together, and we loved working together.
Sure.
But it was like I had so much in my brain, we would just sit down for 2 hours. She's like, okay. It was funny the first time. She's like, okay, what are you thinking about? It took us 2 hours to get through everything business,
You're
just
thinking about.
exclusively business.
It's a lot.
And she was like, she had 4 pages or 5 pages of notes. She's like, you remember all that stuff? And I'm like, yeah. She's like, that's insane.
I always say my brain is like a magic 8 ball. When you shake it, you got all those different answers and things just pinging back and forth, and you don't know which one's going to pop to the surface first. You just can't get it all in order. There's so much. Much.
Lists are helpful.
I will wake up in the middle of the night, grab my phone, and like jot it down on my phone, because otherwise I'm going to worry I'm going to forget it, stay up all night.
That's a great
sleep.
practice. Yeah, that's a great practice. If you wake up in the middle of the night, just jot it down.
Yep.
Yeah.
Which happens often.
I think for me also, I freeze, not even like there's so much going on. It's just almost like, did I make a mistake?
Yeah.
And like, not buyer's remorse, but yeah, a little bit like, am I scaling too fast? And then doubt comes in. And then, especially when it comes to in a job that requires sales, confidence is everything. And then when your confidence is taken away. So like if you view yourself as a good business owner, you're working, hard, you're good to go. But then if you view yourself in a different light, now all of a sudden you're like, I can't even make a sale anymore.
Imposter syndrome is so real.
Yeah.
Yeah. Confidence is hard when you have imposter syndrome. Yeah. Because you're like, I'm winging it. Hopefully people don't see right through this.
Yeah. So do you think the majority of business owners and entrepreneurs go through that season? Like that's a season that should be expected for a lot of people.
Nobody ever talks about it.
They talk about the fun things. And, and don't get me wrong, like there are pluses to owning a business and being an entrepreneur. Like,
there's lots of pros, but there are plenty of cons.
Yeah. And I think that's the goal of why I started this podcast. So like we need a new generation of entrepreneurs, but like entrepreneurs that will actually like employ people. I'm not talking like, YouTube content creation. Like I'm talking like real business. No, I guess you could employ editors, so that's fine. But like we need a new generation of people to come on and be an entrepreneur. And I want to encourage those people to take risks, but I want to prepare them adequately and not sugarcoat it.
No. And I've had a couple people say, when you started your business, how did you do this? Because I'm thinking about doing this. I found this space. There's 4 rooms, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, That's too big. You have a clientele lined up, you have staff lined up, because you're going to be paying out the rear for all of this, and it's going to take years to build it.
Yeah.
Whereas I started little and just stepped up each year until I got to where I'm at. Jumping into where it is now, I could have never done it.
Mm-hmm.
Could have never done it. There's so much upfront cost for something like that. You got to have a hell of a plan ready to go.
Yeah.
And it better be foolproof.
Whether that's you did very well your previous jobs, you have a 6-month emergency fund business to give yourself time.
And most people don't have that.
No. So you played it the smart path. I mean, you literally organically grew. You went 1 room, 2 room, 3 rooms.
Plus my own reception and all that.
Yeah. And then what, 4 or 5?
4 rooms and then 2 bays, which is where we do our red light therapy and our
Nice. So we'll say 6.
Sure.
Just crazy. But you over 13 years, right?
No, long. Yeah, I mean, over 11 years as a business owner, 17 years as a massage therapist, roughly.
So looking at your story, somebody could fast track that, hypothetically speaking.
Yeah,
maybe.
It wouldn't be easy.
But it would be stressful.
Very stressful, because it's stressful.
As it is.
As it is the way I did it. So I can't imagine just jumping in and being like, okay, I have all this. Now I have to find a way to make it work.
Especially overhead is what kills businesses.
Oh, yeah.
That's what kills businesses.
Absolutely.
And you played smart with your overhead. And that's smart. I know that's where a lot of restaurants are just lost so fast, is just the overhead. And you have these people like, oh, we're going to be busy every night and we're going to be able to hire these people. And then there's a coffee shop that I know that died because of it, because they hired too many people. And they had to lay everyone off, but then they didn't have any customers. So the owner was working, 15-hour days, and it just...
When I opened up at the law office, I not only had people who saw me at my last place of employment, but I also ran my version of a Groupon. Literally, I was given hour massages for $25 just to get people in the door. Okay, this deal expires on this date, and you can still use that $25 toward it after that date. But so that really helped too, because it was like a gift certificate that
never.
But that really helped to grow, because people got to know me working for pennies. Because it's like, how else am I going to get people in the door?
Yes, yeah, you have to start that way a lot of times. I mean, I guess there's 2 ways to look at that too. I think what you did makes sense. I know for other industries, sometimes pricing yourself too low can actually have the adverse effect too. But for your industry, all you're trying to do is just get butts in the seat, for lack of a better term. Get people in there, get them on the table, and now you have a big existing book. How many clients do you think you have?
I got a few thousand.
That's crazy.
There's a few thousand in the database.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
Good for you guys.
I've actually had other therapists come to me and be like, I am mad at you. Why? And obviously they're being sarcastic.
Yeah.
But,
oh, no, there's a hint of truth.
I tried to give my card to somebody, and they're like, oh, no, I have a therapist. Maybe you know her. Her name is Lindsey, and da-da-da-da. And
frickin' Lindsey.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. One of my old coworkers had that happen to her 3 times in a span of a week. Why are you doing this? I'm like, I don't know.
And you should be like, come work with me. That's your hiring pitch. You get them come work with you.
She did come work with me.
Ah, nice. Did. Yeah, nice. Cool. Are you? I was like, no, I'm moving on. No. She did. I love the smile.
We'll talk.
Yeah, we'll talk later. Last question. Are you hoping to expand more than one location? No interest.
Nope. Because I think that homey feeling and the hospitality is lost. People can say I'm a control freak. That's fine. But
I'll load it.
But you've ever watched the movie The Founder, about how McDonald's got started?
Okay, I haven't seen it, but yeah.
Yeah, the original guys who owned McDonald's, they didn't want a franchise because for that same reason.
And look at McDonald's now.
Yeah, I know, but you gotta watch the movie.
I should. Franchising isn't always an interesting concept.
And I'm, as someone who's worked for other people and who has not been paid well, when you franchise, that just takes more away from the therapist.
And for you, it's very much a personal experience, and it's tough to franchise the brand, because your brand isn't really Balanced Therapeutics. Your brand is Lindsey, and that's tougher to franchise, which makes sense.
I mean, I've got some friends who work at, let's just say, a local chain place, and they are between table and chair massages cutting 12 or 13 massages a day with but we have good health insurance. I'm like, well, what good is that? Because you're going to wreck your body and not be able to work.
What's the lifespan for the average massage therapist?
Circumstantial. What's your weekly workload like?
What's an average one look like? Is it just different for everybody?
15 to 20 massages a week is solid. A lot of therapists do more than that.
So let's say 20. Like, is it like by 45 you're done because your hands can't handle it anymore?
The lady who owned my school, she is in her 70s, I believe.
Wow.
She still practices, to my knowledge. So if you take care of your body, you can go the distance. But you have to take care of your body. You have to listen to your body. Don't overwork yourself.
Is carpal tunnel a big issue?
Carpal tunnel's a thing. I was doing 26, 27 massages a week for close to a decade, which is over what they consider full-time. And I got such bad tendonitis in my forearms that I had to cut back. Since I've cut back, I don't have an issue. So, and I've been doing this, going on close to 20 years.
That's crazy.
So just got to listen to your body, take care of yourself. I'm not one of those super heavy-handed therapists, which also I think helps because I'm not
killing your thumbs.
I'm not killing my joints the way some other people do. I'm a full believer that you can work the problem out without beating the snot out of somebody.
That's nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, we appreciate that. Yeah, that's nice. Mm-hmm. That's cool because I was wondering, like, was that a concern for you when you got into this career at all?
Yeah.
Of like, how's this going to impact my hands?
A lot of my family members try to talk me out of it because they're like, you're going to wreck your hands. You're not going to have a long career. I'm like, well, I'm going into dental hygiene. They get carpal tunnel too.
Yeah. Just holding things all day and yeah.
Honestly, I see shorter careers in that field than I do in mine. So.
Ha! Take that, family.
Yep.
That's great. All right. Well, I guess let's wrap this up.
Yeah.
What is, for the people listening, I always give the guests on their show, just like anything, what do you got going on? What are some things, either in-state people that are listening to this, out-of-state people? Is there a website that we can check things out?
Yep.
Is there things that you sell online? Is it in person? Like, what you got going on?
So all of our services are in-person services with the exception of the functional nutrition counseling with Kelly. She can do that over the phone or via Skype. The website is www.balancingdownriver.com.
Perfect. And we'll include that in the description of the video.
Yes.
So guys, check out Lindsey, check out Balance Therapeutics. Is it still Balance Therapeutics?
Yep.
Okay, cool.
Balance Therapeutics, downtown Trenton.
Perfect. So if you guys are local to Michigan, definitely check them out. At least visit the website. And I'm sure if you're listening to another state, you have a relative in Michigan. So
Metro Detroit.
give them a gift card or give them a Venmo towards a massage.
Yes.
Because they'd appreciate that. Thank you, Lindsey, for coming on the show.
Thanks.
We appreciate it. This is very fun. If you haven't yet, hit the subscribe button. Thank you guys for watching, and we'll see you guys in the next video.